churches. Walk us through your process. Do you have salesmen? Do you have estimators? How are you doing this? How are you acquiring these deals?
Well, most of it for us is a lot of word of mouth at this point. We've had established company for a long time, so we get a lot of word of mouth. We've been in business for over 20 years. Um, but generally it's a reputation thing. What we've tried to do is just create an honest and faith-based company throughout. And so a lot of the nonprofits kind of ring home with that because their goals are to help. What I've seen with the nonprofit arena is that they have with the nonprofit arena is they get kind of screwed by a lot of GCs, and so you can see it and you hear these stories from people just like, man, were not taken care of. So what we've tried to do is we've tried to kind of step into that nonprofit arena. We are a for-profit company, so we're going to make profit, at the end of the day. But I think we can bring that level of trust to the clients where they know that they're not getting screwed. So we do from our sales side, we'll reach out and we get from architecture firms. We have a lot of architecture firms that specialize in nonprofit, so we'll focus on those. But a lot of times that they come to us and they say we have a design build project. Most of them are design build, so we'll work with them on the design from the napkin all the way to handing them over the final keys. We usually try to get pre-qualified with a diocese or with that specific church in some way, shape, or form. Once we're pre-qualified, we'll work on the plans with them. If it's a hard bid, we'll provide a hard bid proposal against other bidders, and they will go through a selection process. Ultimately, our goal is just to get to the table with the client. I don't claim to be the cheapest contractor out there, and I'll be very honest with my clients. If they're looking for a cheap contractor, I'm probably not the right guy. If they're looking for like amazing quality, if they're looking for open book style contracts, fantastic accounting, fantastic management, like that's the type of contractor we are. So our goal is basically get a really good competitive proposal that's hopefully at the lowest, but if it's not, we just want it to be in the ballpark. Our goal is really just to sit down with the clients and kind of walk them through what our process is. 9 times out of 10, it's specifically recently, all the jobs are just way over budget, right? Construction prices skyrocketing. And in addition to that, with interest rates going up, even the affordability is just not there. That's why I get kind of nervous about what's going to happen with the economy later on. But so we spend a lot of time doing value engineering after the fact. And that's kind of what we specialize in. So we'll drop a dollar amount on them with them. It's this shock and they're like, oh my gosh, this
Oh
is
my God.
yeah, exactly. This is so expensive. We're like, yeah, I know. And so but for us, we try to be just very transparent. So we will show them literally every single sub bid that we have. We'll say, hey, we got 3 to 5 bids per trade. The market is what's driving your price. It's not us. I mean, we're a very small percentage of that management cost. So what we're looking for is just to show them, hey, this is what your job costs. Let's validate what your job cost is based off of what the market is telling us with these sub bids. And then we say, hey, look, if you want to entertain with us, we can go to the drawing board with you, provide some value engineering options. And that's generally speaking what's been happening on every single job that we've been doing on the private side, and not only nonprofit, but also other private jobs. And we just work through value engineering options, whether it's managing the site work differently based on Solar's report recommendations, changing out this type of units that they're doing, material finishes, removing scope in some cases. So there's various ways to do it. I just actually had a meeting yesterday with it's not a nonprofit, it's a health center out in Merced, where we proposed on an $9 million project, $678,000 worth of value engineering options. The owner elected to take about half of them, right, to just help them bring that budget down. But they're moving forward with the contract. It even is over budget for them. They were able to come up with the money. But one of the biggest issues I'm seeing right now in the industry is just owners. If we're the lowest bidder on a job, the valuation, we could be the lowest bidder on a $5 million project, but the bank valuation is saying it's only worth $4 million. So now the owners are having to not only bridge the gap between our base low bid and what the highest valuation the loan will be on it. They also have to do the 70-30 gap on the loan as well. So they're coming up with like massive amounts of money to be able to do it. So we're really having to spend a lot of time with our clients, just focusing on how to reduce budgets, but still meet their needs, right? That's why we stay in the commercial arena, right? Because you can't do that in a private arena, right? Because on like, I'm sorry, the commercial. You can't do that on like residential side, because the
Yeah.
residential side is like people just want what they want, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
on the
And
commercial
they got
side,
and they have a tight budget.
exactly.
Where when you say commercial, you're saying commercial, private, and government. That's
Mhm.
what when you say the
Yes.
word commercial, you mean all three of those, correct?
Yes, yes, just not residential, because on the residential side, they want what they want. On the commercial side, usually there's an income related to the work, right? They're building it out because there's some sort of income or some sort of benefit that they really need for the work that isn't, more square footage in their home, right? That's just solely, there's a value that comes in there. So it's easier to work through the budgets with them. And usually they're pretty more, the larger the value of the project, usually you have a more savvy client, which is, we love having savvy clients because it's easy to walk through issues on plans because they understand it. They understand that there's going to be issues with plans. They understand that they most likely are going to deal with change orders, and we'll work with them on everything. Keeping everything open book with them usually keeps that level of trust that they need to be continue to move the project forward. So